They threatened to annihilate Earth. One human message sent their Armada running part. 1. The shadow over Earth. The year was 2347. Humans had spread far into space. They had colonies on 3 different star systems. But Earth was still home. It was still the heart of everything. 12 billion people lived on the blue planet. It was the center of the United Terran Coalition, the government that protected all of humanity. Admiral Park Yuna stood, alone on the observation deck of the orbital station called Sunrise. She was 62 years old. Her hair was gray and cut short. Her uniform was clean and pressed. She had fought in many battles during her long career. She had seen friends die. She had given orders that sent young soldiers to their deaths. She thought she had seen everything. She was wrong. Yuna looked down at Earth through the massive window. The planet was beautiful. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds moving slowly across the surface. She had protected this world for 40 years. She would protect it until her last breath. Her communication device beeped. She answered it. "Admiral," said a nervous voice. It was Lieutenant Beek Sunho from the sensor station. "We have a problem." "A big problem? What is it?" Yuna asked. "Ships, Admiral. Thousands of them. They just appeared at the edge of our solar system." Yuna felt her heart go cold. "How many?" There was a pause. When Sunho spoke again, his voice was shaking. 12,000, Admiral. 12,000 ships. Yuna closed her eyes. Humanity's entire fleet was only 800 vessels. 800 against 12,000. Those were not odds. Those were a death sentence. "Sound the alarm," she said calmly. "Wake everyone up. This is not a drill." Within hours, the alien ships had sent a message to Earth. Every screen on the planet showed the same image. A tall creature stood in the center of a dark room. Its skin was white like bone. It had 4 eyes that glowed yellow. Its voice was deep and cold, like ice cracking in winter. "Primitive species of the 3rd planet," the creature said. "I am High Commander Vorath of the Verith Dominion. You have 20 rotations of your planet to evacuate your world. We claim this system for the Dominion. All resources will belong to us. All structures will be destroyed." The creature paused. Its 4 eyes seemed to look directly at every human watching. "Resistance is foolish. We have purged 47 species before you. They all thought they could fight. They were wrong. You will be the 48th species we destroy, or you will be forgotten completely. The choice is simple. Run and live somewhere else. Stay and die. You have 20 days." The transmission ended. Panic spread across Earth like fire. People ran through the streets. Some cried. Some screamed. Some prayed to gods they had never believed in before. Emergency meetings happened in every government building. Military leaders calculated the odds again and again, hoping the math would somehow change. It never did. 800 ships against 12,000. There was no way to win. Admiral Yuna attended the Emergency Council meeting in Geneva. Leaders from every nation sat around a huge table. Their faces were pale with fear. "We must evacuate," said one leader. "Save as many people as we can." "Evacuate to where?" asked another. "Our colony ships can carry maybe 50 million people. What about the other 12 billion? "Then we surrender," said a third leader. "We beg for mercy. Did you not hear them?" Yuna said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. "They do not want surrender. They want our planet. They will kill us either way. Running or begging will not save us. Then, what do you suggest?" Someone asked angrily. "Fighting? That is suicide." "Maybe," Yuna said. "But dying on our feet is better than dying on our knees." The argument continued for hours. No one could agree. Fear had taken hold of everyone. Yuna watched them fight with each other and felt tired. These were supposed to be humanity's greatest leaders, but they looked like scared children. While the leaders argued, a different kind of meeting was happening far away. In Seoul, deep underground, a man named Kim Tae-ho sat in his small office. He was the director of the Coalition's Psychological Warfare Division. His job was to understand enemies, to find their weaknesses, to break their minds before breaking their bodies. Tae-ho was 55 years old. He wore simple clothes. He had a kind face that made people trust him. But behind his gentle eyes was a sharp mind, a dangerous mind. He watched the alien transmission for the 20th time. He listened to every word. He studied the creature's body language. He noticed how it stood, how it moved, how it spoke, and slowly Tae-ho began to smile. He picked up his communication device and called his assistant, a young woman named Cho Minji. She was the best language expert in the Coalition. "Minji," he said, "come to my office. Bring coffee. We have work to do." "What kind of work?" she asked. Tae-ho looked at the frozen image of the alien commander on his screen. 4 yellow eyes stared back at him. "We are going to send these creatures a message," Tae-ho said softly. "A message that will make 12,000 ships turn around and run away." There was silence on the other end. "Is that even possible?" Minji asked. Tae-ho leaned back in his chair. His smile grew wider. "My dear Minji," he said, "these aliens have conquered 47 species. They have ruled the stars for 3,000 years. They think they know everything about fear." He paused. "But they have never met humans. They do not know what we are. They do not know what we can do. And by the time they understand, it will be too late." He ended the call and started to write. The fate of Earth would not be decided by weapons or ships. It would be decided by words. And Kim Tae-ho knew exactly which words to use. They threatened to annihilate Earth 1 human message. Sent their Armada Running Part 2. The Nature of Fear director Kim Tae-ho walked through the underground tunnel beneath Bakansan Mountain. The walls were gray concrete. The lights were dim. His footsteps echoed in the silence. This place had been built 200 years ago, during a time when humans still fought wars against each other. Now it would be used to fight a different kind of war. He entered a large room. A round table sat in the center. Screens covered the walls. 5 people waited for him. They were the best minds in human psychology, language, and information warfare. Tae-ho had chosen each of them carefully. Dr. Cho Minji sat closest to the door. She was 38 years old, with tired eyes and messy hair. She had not slept in 3 days. On the table in front of her were hundreds of pages of notes about the alien language. Lieutenant Baek Sun-ho sat next to her. He was young, only 26, but his skills in gathering information were better than anyone twice his age. He had already hacked into the alien communication systems. Captain Ru Jun leaned against the wall with her arms crossed. She was the master of electronic warfare. If you wanted to send a message that could not be blocked or ignored, she was the person to call. Professor No Ji-won was the oldest person in the room. He was 70 years old, with white hair and thick glasses. He had spent his entire life studying human military history. Every war, every battle, every massacre. Dr. Shin Yoonji sat at the end of the table, typing on her computer. She was a mathematician. Her job was to turn chaos into numbers that anyone could understand. Tae-ho sat down at the head of the table. He looked at each person slowly. "Thank you for coming," he said. "I know you are all tired. I know you are all scared. But we have work to do. Important work. The most important work any of us will ever do." He pressed a button. The alien transmission played on the main screen. The bone-white creature spoke its cold words again. 47 species destroyed. 20 days to leave. Surrender or die. When the transmission ended, Taiho turned to Dr. Cho. Minji, he said, tell us what you have learned. Minji stood up slowly. She looked exhausted, but her voice was strong. I have studied every part of this message, she said. Their language, their body movements, the way they built their sentences. And I have found something very interesting. She walked to the screen and pointed at the alien commander. This creature is not a warrior, she said. It is a bully. Look at how it stands. Look at how it speaks. It is trying very hard to look scary. But real predators do not need to try. Real predators are simply scary without effort. What does that mean? Sunho asked. It means they are used to winning without fighting, Minji said. Every species they have met either ran away or surrendered. They wave their big fleet around and everyone gives up. They have not had a real battle in hundreds of years. Professor No nodded slowly. They are conquerors who have forgotten how to conquer. They only know how to threaten. Exactly, Minji said. And there is something else. They mentioned 47 species. They wanted us to know that number. They needed us to be afraid of it. That tells me something important. What? Taiho asked. Fear is their only weapon, Minji said. They do not know how to fight enemies who are not afraid. The room went quiet. Everyone was thinking. Lieutenant Sunho cleared his throat. I have been listening to their internal communications, he said. The messages between their ships. They are not preparing for battle. They are not loading weapons or training soldiers. They are just waiting. They expect us to give up like everyone else. Captain Ru laughed bitterly. They picked the wrong species to threaten. Did they? Taiho asked. He stood up and walked around the table slowly. Think about it. From their view, we make sense. We are small. We are weak. We have only 800 ships against their 12,000. Any logical species would run away. He stopped walking and looked at everyone. But humans are not logical. We never have been. We are the species that charges into machine gun fire for a piece of land. We are the species that burns our own cities so enemies cannot take them. We are the species that fights wars for ideas that cannot be seen or touched. Professor No smiled. It was a sad smile. We are the most violent species our planet has ever produced. We have spent more time killing each other than any other activity in our history. Yes, Taiho said. And that is our weapon. Not our ships. Not our guns. Our nature. Our beautiful, terrible, unstoppable nature. He returned to his seat and activated a holographic display. The words Operation Hornet's Nest appeared in glowing letters. We are going to send the Varth a message, he said. A message unlike anything they have ever received. We will show them exactly what humans are. We will show them what we have done to each other. And we will explain very carefully what we will do to them if they stay. You think a message will stop 12,000 ships? Sunho asked doubtfully. Yes, Taiho said simply. Because I understand something about fear. Real fear. The kind that makes armies run. The kind that makes empires fall. He looked around the room. The Varth think they know fear. They think they are masters of it. But they only know one kind of fear. The fear of death. The fear of destruction. They threaten to kill and everyone runs away, because everyone wants to live. He leaned forward. But what happens when you threaten a species that does not care about living? What happens when you threaten a species that would rather die fighting than live in peace? What happens when you threaten a species that considers death in battle to be an honor? Captain Ru's eyes widened. You are going to make them afraid of us. I am going to make them terrified, Taiho said. I am going to show them that fighting us will cost them more than they can afford to pay. Not because we will win. We will not win. But because we will hurt them so badly that their empire will never recover. He smiled coldly. We cannot defeat them, but we can make them regret ever learning our name. And sometimes that is enough. Dr. Shin Yoonji finally spoke. Her voice was calm and steady. Tell us what you need. Taiho nodded. I need numbers. Death tolls. War statistics. Everything humans have done to each other throughout history. I need it organized and translated into terms the Vareth will understand. He turned to Professor No. I need footage. Videos of human warfare. The worst of it. The trenches. The bombings. The genocides. Everything that shows what we truly are. He looked at Minji. I need you to translate our message perfectly. Every word must hit their minds like a hammer. Finally, he turned to Captain Ru. And I need you to send this message so loud and clear that every single Vareth ship receives it at the exact same moment. No delays, no static. Perfect clarity. Everyone nodded. We have 14 days, Taiho said. Let us begin. They threatened to annihilate Earth 1 human message sent their Armada running Part 3. The message, for 14 days. The team worked without rest. They ate at their desks. They slept on the floor when their bodies could not stay awake anymore. They drank so much coffee that their hands shook. But they never stopped working. The fate of Earth depended on them. Professor No Jiwon spent his days in the archives. He collected footage from every war humans had ever fought. The First World War, the Second World War, the endless conflicts that came after. He watched thousands of hours of death and destruction. He saw bodies piled in trenches. He saw cities turned to ash. He saw soldiers charging into gunfire again and again, dying by the hundreds, and still more came behind them. By the 5th day, tears ran down his old face. Not because he was sad, but because he was proud. Proud of his species. Proud of their stubborn refusal to surrender. Proud of their endless, terrible will to fight. We are monsters, he whispered to himself as he edited the footage. Beautiful, magnificent monsters. Dr. Shin Yoonji worked on the numbers. She collected death tolls from every conflict in human history. The numbers were almost impossible to believe. Millions dead in single wars. Hundreds of millions across centuries. She calculated how many humans had died fighting other humans since the beginning of recorded history. The number was over 1 billion. 1 billion humans killed by other humans. Not by disease. Not by nature. By each other. And still, the species survived. Still, they kept fighting. Still, they never gave up. She organized the data into simple charts. Simple enough for any alien to understand. The message was clear. Humans were excellent at killing. And they had a lot of practice. Captain Ru Jun built the delivery system. She created a virus that would spread through the Vareth communication network instantly. When the message was sent, every screen on every ship would show it at the same moment. They could not block it. They could not ignore it. They would be forced to watch. Dr. Cho Minji worked on the translation. This was the hardest job. The message had to be perfect. Every word had to strike fear into the Vareth minds. She studied their language for hours. She learned how they thought. How they processed information. How they felt emotions. By the 10th day, she understood them better than they understood themselves. They have never been hurt, she told Taiho one evening. In 3,000 years, no one has ever made them bleed. They have forgotten what pain feels like. We need to remind them. On the 14th day, everything was ready. The footage was edited. The numbers were organized. The delivery system was tested. All that remained was the final piece. The words that director Kim Tae-ho would speak directly to the Verith Fleet. Tae-ho sat alone in a small room. A camera faced him. He wore simple civilian clothes. No uniform. No medals. He wanted to look like an ordinary human. That was the point. Even ordinary humans were dangerous. He took a deep breath and pressed the record button. "Hello," he said calmly. His voice was soft, gentle, almost friendly. "My name is Kim Tae-ho. I am a human from the planet Earth. You have threatened to destroy my world. You have given us 20 days to leave. Today is day 16. We have spent 14 of those days preparing this response." He paused and folded his hands on the table. "We have studied your transmissions carefully. 47 species destroyed. 3,000 years of conquest. Very impressive. You must be very proud." His smile was warm, almost kind. "But you have made a mistake. A terrible mistake. You have threatened the wrong species." The footage began to play behind him. Trenches filled with bodies. Explosions turning soldiers into red mist. Cities burning. Mushroom clouds rising over Japan. "You have only ever threatened species who wanted to live," Tae-ho continued. "Species who valued survival above all else. Species who looked at your fleet and calculated the odds and decided that running was better than dying." He shook his head slowly. "We are not that species." More footage. Suicide bombers walking calmly into enemy positions. Kamikaze pilots diving into warships. Soldiers holding grenades against their chests to take enemies with them. "We invented the suicide attack," Tae-ho said. "We strap explosives to our own bodies and walk smiling into enemy lines. We burn our own cities rather than let invaders take them. We have spent more time killing each other than we have known peace." The numbers appeared on screen. 1 billion dead. Wars lasting decades. Generations born and raised knowing nothing but battle. "Do you understand these numbers?" Tae-ho asked. 1 billion of our own people. Killed by other humans. And we are still here. We are still fighting. We never stopped. His voice grew softer, almost sad. "You have 12,000 ships. We have 800. You will win. We know this. There is no way for us to defeat you in battle. Our mathematics are very good. We understand the odds." He leaned forward slightly. "But here is what you do not understand. We do not care about winning. We only care about hurting you. Every ship you send will burn before it touches our atmosphere. Every soldier you land will die on our soil. And when you finally stand over our ashes, you will count your dead." He paused. "How many can you afford to lose? 1,000 ships? 2,000? 5,000? Because I promise you this. You will lose at least that many. Probably more. We have already prepared our defenses. We have mining ships filled with nuclear bombs ready to ram your vessels. We have civilians who have volunteered for suicide missions. We have billions of people who would rather die than surrender." The footage changed. Children learning to shoot guns. Old men making explosives in their kitchens. Women sharpening knives with cold determination in their eyes. "Every human on this planet is a weapon," Tae-ho said. "From the oldest grandmother to the youngest child. We will fight you with everything we have. And when we run out of weapons, we will fight you with our bare hands. And when we are too weak to stand, we will bite you with our teeth." His smile returned. Warm, gentle, terrifying. "Your dominion has existed for 3,000 years. We have been at war for 10,000. You have conquered 47 species. We have conquered ourselves again and again, forever." He stood up and walked closer to the camera. "If you stay, you will destroy us. That is certain. But we will wound you so deeply that your empire will never recover. Every species you threaten after this will look at your scars and wonder what the humans did to you. Your reputation will be broken. Your power will be questioned. And one day, one of those 47 species you conquered will realize that you can be hurt. And they will rise up. And your empire will fall. He stopped walking. We are not afraid of death. We are not afraid of extinction. We are only afraid of dying without a fight. You cannot threaten us with destruction because destruction is already in our nature. We destroy ourselves constantly. You are simply offering to help. He reached out and touched the camera lens gently. We are not running. We are waiting. We are ready. Every human on Earth has made peace with death. Now the only question is whether you have to. They step back. You have 4 days to decide. Stay and destroy us and be destroyed in return. Or leave and tell the galaxy that some prey is too dangerous to hunt. His final words were barely a whisper. The choice is yours. But I hope you stay. I really do. Because we have been waiting a long time for a good fight. And you look like you might finally give us one. The recording ended. Tai-Ho sat in silence for a long moment. Then he called Captain Ru. Send it, he said. Send it now. At exactly midnight, the message was broadcast. 12,000 Varith ships received it simultaneously. Every screen showed the same footage. Every speaker played the same words. And in the cold darkness of space, 12,000 alien commanders watched in silence. And for the first time in 3,000 years, they felt something they had forgotten existed: fear. They threatened to annihilate Earth. One human message sent their Armada running, Part 4. The silence. The message was sent. Now came the waiting. For 2 days, the Varith Armada did nothing. 12,000 ships sat at the edge of the solar system like a dark cloud of metal and death. They did not move forward. They did not move back. They simply floated in the cold silence of space on Earth. People held their breath. No one knew if the message had worked. No one knew if the aliens were planning to attack or planning to leave. The tension was unbearable. Admiral Park Yuna did not waste the waiting time. She mobilized every ship Earth possessed: warships, transport vessels, mining craft, cargo haulers. Anything that could fly and carry a weapon was pressed into service. Strip the mining ships of their drilling equipment, she ordered. Fill them with nuclear charges. They will be our ramming vessels. 1 ship, 1 bomb, 1 target. Admiral, said one of her officers nervously, those ships have crews. They will not survive. I know, Yuna said quietly. I have already received 10,000 volunteers. People are lining up for the chance to take an alien ship with them. The officer went pale but said nothing more. Across the planet, similar preparations were happening. In Bizan, a sergeant named Han Dohan gathered his militia unit in an old warehouse. They were not soldiers. They were farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, and factory workers. Their weapons were hunting rifles, kitchen knives, and homemade explosives. Listen carefully, Dohan said to his group of 50 people. If the aliens land, we are not going to stop them. We know that. But we are going to make them bleed for every step they take on our land. An old woman in the back raised her hand. She was 70 years old with white hair and a bent back. Her name was Grandma Moon. Sergeant, she said. I am too old to run. My knees are bad, but I can still cook. Dohan looked confused. Cook? Grandma Moon smiled. It was not a friendly smile. I spent 50 years cooking for my family. I know which mushrooms are safe and which ones will kill a man in 6 hours. I know which herbs cause blindness and which ones stop the heart. If aliens eat our food, I will make sure it is their last meal. The room went quiet. Then someone laughed. Then everyone laughed. Even Dohan smiled. Grandma Moon, he said, You are officially our head of food services. Similar scenes happened everywhere. In Tokyo, office workers learned to make Molotov cocktails from old bottles and gasoline. In Moscow, retired soldiers taught young people how to set ambushes in city streets. In New York, engineers designed traps that could collapse buildings on enemy troops. Every human on Earth understood the situation. They could not win. The aliens were too strong. Too many. But losing did not mean surrendering. Losing meant dying while fighting. And that was acceptable. On the orbital station Sunrise, Admiral Yuna watched the tactical display with tired eyes. She had not slept in 3 days. Her coffee had gone cold hours ago. Captain Ru Jun burst into the command center. Her face was excited. "Admiral, we are picking up something strange from the enemy fleet." Yuna turned sharply. "What is it? Are they attacking?" "No," Ru said. "They are talking. A lot. Their internal communications have gone crazy. Thousands of messages between ships. It is completely chaotic." Dr. Cho Minji was already at a console, analyzing the intercepted signals. Her eyes moved rapidly across the screen. "They are arguing," she said slowly. "Fleet commanders are fighting with each other. Some want to attack immediately. Others are demanding withdrawal." Withdrawal? Yuna felt hope for the first time in days. "They want to leave?" "Some of them," Minji said. "Listen to this translation. One commander is saying that humans are insane, and that fighting us will destroy the Dominion's reputation forever. Another commander is calling him a coward and demanding that they proceed with the attack. What about their supreme commander?" Yuna asked. "What is Vorath saying?" Minji typed quickly. "Nothing. Vorath has been silent since our message was received. No orders, no communication. Complete silence from the flagship." Director Kim Taiho entered the command center quietly. He had been listening from outside. "He's afraid," Taiho said. "Vorath is afraid, and he does not know what to do. He has never faced this situation before. His entire life, every species has surrendered or fled. He does not know how to handle enemies who welcome death." Yuna looked at him. "So what happens now?" "Now we wait," Taiho said. "And we watch. This is the most dangerous moment. A cornered animal is unpredictable. They might attack out of fear or pride. Or they might realize that winning against us is not worth the cost." The hours passed slowly. The argument in the Vareth fleet continued. More and more commanders demanded withdrawal. Others insisted on attacking. The debate became more heated. On Earth, people watched the news and waited. Children asked their parents if the aliens would come. Parents told them that everything would be okay while hiding weapons under their beds. In Seoul, Sergeant Dohun gathered his militia for what might be their last meeting. Grandma Moon had prepared a meal for everyone. It was simple food: rice, soup, vegetables. But it might be the last meal many of them would ever eat. "Whatever happens tomorrow," Dohun said, raising his cup of water, "I am proud to stand with all of you. We are not warriors. We are ordinary people. But we will show these aliens what ordinary humans can do." Everyone raised their cups, even Grandma Moon, whose old hand shook slightly. "For Earth," Dohun said. "For Earth," everyone repeated. On day 18, Captain Ru detected a significant change in the Vareth fleet. "Admiral," she shouted, "the enemy ships are moving." Yuna's heart stopped. Direction? Ru stared at her screen, not quite believing what she saw. "Backward," she whispered. "They are moving backward, toward the fold point. They are repositioning their supply lines away from us." Minji confirmed it moments later. "Their internal communications have shifted. The commanders demanding withdrawal have won the argument. They are preparing to leave." Yuna gripped the edge of her console. Her knuckles went white. "Do not celebrate yet," she warned. "This could be a trick." They could be repositioning for a different attack vector. But Taiho shook his head slowly. A tired smile spread across his face. "No," he said. "Look at the pattern. They are protecting their supply ships, putting their strongest vessels between us and their vulnerable transports. That is a defensive formation. That is what retreating armies do." He sat down heavily in a chair. All the tension left his body at once. "They are running," he said. "They looked at us, at what we are, at what we would do to them, and they decided we are not worth the price." Yuna wanted to believe him. She wanted to celebrate. But 40 years of military experience told her to wait, to be sure. "Maintain all defenses," she ordered. "No one relaxes until those ships are gone, but—" She paused and allowed herself a small smile. "Tell the people. Tell them there is hope. Tell them we might actually survive this." The news spread across Earth like sunrise after the longest night. People who had been preparing to die began to hope they might live. Parents hugged their children. Soldiers lowered their weapons slightly. But no one truly relaxed. Not yet. The Varath was still there. The threat was still real. The next 24 hours would decide everything. In his underground bunker, Director Kim Taiho sat alone in the darkness. He had done everything he could. The message was sent. The fear was planted. Now all he could do was wait. He closed his eyes and thought about his daughter. She lived on the Mars colony, safe from the immediate threat. He hoped she would never have to fight a war like this. He hoped that after today, no human would ever have to fight this kind of war again. But deep down, he knew the truth. Humans would always fight. It was in their nature, their blessing and their curse. He smiled in the darkness and waited for dawn. They threatened to annihilate Earth. One human message sent their armada. Running Part 5. The Legacy on the morning of Day 19. The Varath Dominion's Supreme Commander Varath appeared on every screen in the solar system. He looked different than before. His 4 yellow eyes did not glow as brightly. His bone-white skin seemed pale. His voice, which had been cold and confident, now carried something new. Uncertainty. "Humans," he said. "The Varath Dominion withdraws its claim to your system. Our Strategic Council has determined that the cost of acquisition exceeds acceptable parameters. Your territory is granted sovereign status. This system is marked forbiddance. No Dominion vessel will enter your space." He paused. His 4 eyes blinked slowly. "You are unlike any species we have encountered. We do not understand you. We do not wish to understand you. We only wish to leave you alone." The transmission ended. Within hours, the 12,000 ships began folding out of the solar system. One by one, they disappeared into the strange light of fold space. By sunset on Earth, only empty space remained where the Armada had been. They were gone, without firing a single shot, without killing a single human. They had simply looked at humanity and decided to leave. For 3 days, no one celebrated. Sensors remained active. Fleets stayed ready. People kept their weapons close. Everyone expected the Varath to return, to attack when humanity let down its guard. But the Varath never came back. Their ships stayed far away. Their communication channels went silent. It was as if they wanted to forget that Earth existed. On the 4th day, the celebrations began. In every city on Earth, people poured into the streets. They danced. They sang. They cried tears of joy. Strangers hugged each other. Old enemies shook hands. For one perfect moment, all of humanity was united in relief and pride. In Seoul, Sergeant Han Dohan opened a bottle of old wine he had been saving for a special occasion. His militia gathered around him in the same warehouse where they had trained. Grandma Moon had prepared a victory feast. "We did it," Don said, raising his glass. "We survived. More than survived. said a young farmer named Park Jun-ho. "We scared them away. We made 12,000 ships turn and run without fighting. That is the human way," Grandma Moon said with a smile. "Too stubborn to surrender. Too crazy to fear. What choice did they have?" Everyone laughed and drank. The future suddenly seemed bright. Admiral Park Yuna was promoted to Fleet Admiral, the highest rank in the Coalition Navy. She accepted the position reluctantly. She had never wanted power. She only wanted to protect Earth. But now Earth needed to be protected in a new way. Not just with ships and weapons, but with preparation. With readiness. They had won this time. Next time, they might not be so lucky. "We need a bigger fleet," she told the Coalition Council. "Not to conquer, not to threaten, but to ensure that no one ever threatens us like this again. The galaxy knows about us now. They know what we are. Some will fear us. Others will want to test us. We must be ready." The council agreed. Construction began on 1,000 new warships. Training programs expanded. Humanity would never be caught weak again. Director Kim Tae-ho refused all honors and promotions. He did not want fame. He did not want recognition. He simply returned to his basement office in Seoul and began working on his next project. Somewhere in the galaxy, there were other powers, other empires. Sooner or later, they would hear about what happened at Earth, and they would be curious about these strange creatures who had scared away the mighty. Vireth. Tae-ho needed to be ready for them. Dr. Cho Minji published her analysis of the Varth language and psychology. Her work became the foundation of a new field called xenopsychological warfare. For the first time, humans had a way to understand alien minds, to find their weaknesses, to break them without fighting. Captain Rule June's electronic warfare systems became standard equipment on every coalition ship. Her ability to penetrate alien communications had been crucial to understanding the enemy. Future enemies would face the same invisible attacks. Professor No Gi-won wrote a book about the crisis. He called it The Human Nature. In it, he explained why humans were so different from other species, why they refused to surrender, why they welcomed death rather than submission. The book became required reading in schools across Earth. Dr. Shin Yoonji returned to her mathematics work, but she kept a copy of her war calculations on her wall, a reminder of what numbers could do, of how fear could be measured and weaponized. Decades passed. Earth grew stronger. The coalition expanded. New colonies were built. New alliances were formed. And slowly, humanity took its place among the stars. Word of what happened at Earth spread through the galaxy. In trading posts and diplomatic stations, in the whispered conversations of alien merchants and soldiers, the story traveled from system to system. There is a species in the outer spiral arm. They call themselves humans. They are small, fragile. Their technology is not impressive. Their fleet is modest. But do not threaten them. Do not corner them. Do not give them a reason to fight, because humans do not surrender. Humans do not flee. Humans do not care if they win or lose. They only care about making you pay the highest possible price. The Vareth learned this. Look at them now. 3,000 years of conquest, and they are afraid to leave their own borders. They jump at shadows. They see humans in every corner of space. They are broken not by weapons, but by fear. Do not make the same mistake. Leave the humans alone. Find easier prey. Find species who want to live. Because humans will make you regret the day you ever learned their name. 50 years after the Vareth crisis, a young diplomat named Yoon Sira represented humanity at the First Galactic Assembly. It was a gathering of 200 species from across the galaxy. Some were ancient. Some were powerful. All were curious about the humans who had scared away the Dominion. Sarah was nervous, but did not show it. She stood at the speaker's platform and faced hundreds of alien eyes. They watched her with a mix of respect, fear, and fascination. One delegate, a tall creature with silver skin and 6 arms, asked the question everyone wanted answered. "Human representative," it said, "how did your species defeat the Varith Dominion? Our records show that your fleet was hopelessly outnumbered. By all calculations, you should have been destroyed." Sarah smiled. It was a warm smile. A human smile. The same smile Director Kim Tae-ho had worn in his message 60 years ago. "We did not defeat them," she said. "We never fired a shot. We never destroyed a single ship. We simply reminded them of something they had forgotten." "What was that?" the delegate asked. Sarah looked around the assembly hall. Ancient species. Powerful empires. Civilizations that had existed for millions of years. They had all learned to fear extinction. They had all learned that survival was the most important thing. But humans had learned a different lesson. "We reminded them that some prey is not worth hunting," Sarah said. "Some fights are not worth winning. Some enemies will cost you more than you can ever afford to pay." She paused. "The universe is full of predators. But every predator knows there's some prey that fights back. Some prey that would rather die than run. Some prey that will wound you so badly that victory becomes meaningless." She straightened her shoulders. "We made sure they understood. We are that prey. Attack us and you will win. But you will never recover. You will never forget. And you will spend the rest of your existence looking over your shoulder, wondering when another human will come for revenge." The assembly hall was silent. "We do not want war," Sarah continued. "We do not seek conquest. We only want to live in peace. But if anyone threatens our home, we will respond the same way we responded to the Varth. With everything we have. With everything we are." She smiled again. "So please, do not threaten us. Do not test us. You will not like what you find." She stepped back from the platform. The silence continued for a long moment. Then, slowly, the delegates began to tap their appendages against their seats. In galactic custom, this was applause. Sarah returned to her seat among the human delegation. An old man sat next to her. His hair was completely white now. His face was lined with age. But his eyes were still sharp. Still dangerous. Director Kim Tae-ho, now 93 years old, had lived long enough to see humanity take its place among the stars. He looked at Sarah with pride. "Well done," he said quietly. Sarah smiled. "I learned from the best." Tae-ho looked out at the gathered species. 200 civilizations. Millions of years of history. And now humanity stood among them. Not as conquerors. Not as threats. But as equals. As something new in the universe. "We are just getting started," he said. "The galaxy is vast. There will be more challenges. More enemies. More tests. Are you worried?" Sarah asked. Tae-ho shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "Because I know what we are. I know what we can do. And I know that no matter what the universe throws at us, we will never give up. We will never surrender. We will never stop fighting." He smiled one last time. "That is the human way." And somewhere across the galaxy, on a dark planet at the edge of Varus space, an old alien commander watched the broadcast from the Galactic Assembly. He saw the young human diplomat speak. He heard her words. And he remembered, 50 years ago, another human with a warm smile and gentle voice who had said almost the same things.